My word for 2020 was flow. And so that ability to go with the flow allowed me to probably have a better year than most, even if not having the best year ever. Came into 2020 without really having any goals. I see that now as God's grace. After, in hindsight, with hindsight actually being 2020, I recognize God's grace in that, and not coming into the year with a bunch of stuff I wanted to accomplish, and actually coming into the year pretty unsure. It allowed me to get through the year and focus on the wins that I had, because I wasn't really expecting much at the top of it to begin with anyway. And I think I would have had a completely different response had I come into the year. Let me rephrase that. I knew I would have had a completely different response had I come into the year with a bunch of expectations and plans and goals like I normally do. So I didn't have to cancel that much. I didn't have to reconsider that much. Being able to show up for my friends when they really needed me, because I wasn't busy doing a bunch of other stuff, was a huge win. I think it's important to show up for people when they need you and how they need you. So there was a privilege to that, to being able to do that for people that I love. Started grad school. I am 2/3 of the way finished with my program. I graduate in April. Doing a 4-semester program in 3, because I was able to focus on it. Setting firm boundaries and not allowing people to use my passions against me, in a sense. I've learned that people will very readily actually use your passions to cause you to allow yourself to be abused by them so they can get what they want out of you. And I was like, nah, fam, we good. That was definitely a win. Like, I don't have to yell, fuss, and scream, but I can set firm boundaries and say, this is my line in the sand. You figure out what you want to do with it. I read 40 books. The goal was 24. I read 40. That's definitely a win. Received contracts that I didn't even know existed beforehand. So expanding in that way, expanding as an academic, even though it's really, really scary. I went after what I wanted and I got it. It always feels good. I wanted to travel and I didn't get to do that. I really wanted to go back to Africa. This past year, I was kind of making some plans to be able to do some things over the summer, and it was like, no, I don't think I traveled in 2020. And for me, based on how I've been living my life these last couple years, that's a lot. I take that back. I did one trip in January of 2020, but no shade, it was to Kentucky. And it allowed me to show up for a friend, but it was Kentucky in January. They don't really count. At one point, I think I lost a sense of self. And I lost a hold of my mental and emotional peace, definitely, towards the beginning of the pandemic. I'm grateful that by the end of the year, I was able to get it back though. So I feel better January 6, 2021 than I did January 6, 2020. My word for the year is thrive, right? 2020 was survival. I happen to be able to come in a little bit above survival because God is faithful. But 2021 is thrive, right? And really live into who I want to be, celebrating this adventure that is my life, owning my 40s, 10 toes down, in this beautiful experience. So it's interesting, my goals are probably a little less tangible now, which is weird, because I'm all about make a SMART goal and but this will take place across everything, which is to own my brilliance, to stand tall, to stand proud, unapologetically, bold, beautiful Black woman brilliance, and be like, no, that's it. We're good. I'm right. Where I'm right, I'm right. No, I'm not right everywhere. I'm not right with everything. But where I am right, and I will own that. I won't let people take that away from me. I won't let people diminish it. I won't let other people minimize it, and I damn sure won't do it to myself anymore. I'm gonna own my brilliance, and I'm gonna let that thing carry me into this next foray of life, into this next book. That's how we're gonna start it. When I came into my 30s, I wasn't owning my brilliance. I was finally willing to take up space, but didn't fully own my brilliance. God didn't make a mistake when he made me. And so I am the way I am for a reason, right? And I can admit that some of it is a response to trauma in various forms. My goal is to heal from the trauma, to honor God in being who he created, so that other little girls who are too loud or too smart, or the first to raise their hands, or super helpful, or too tall, or too whatever, or not enough of the other, can see that when God made them, he didn't make a mistake then either. So it is my praise. It is my worship to honor God's creation by being what he created me to be, and being who he created me to be, and being all of that unapologetically. Because he didn't make mistakes. And if he started, he didn't start on April 6, 1981 at 6:07 a.m. I feel in a lot of ways, I've been settling for excellent, which is interesting because it's like, how do you settle for excellent? By exceeding the expectations but still not being your best. So I want to dedicate this next decade of living, this next iteration of Kristen, to being my best and being willing to blow my own damn mind, because that's what God intended. All of these things I've figured out, and at this end of 39, like how different could my 30s have been had I figured them out at the beginning? If I could have told Kristen then, own your brilliance, because sis, you're remarkable. If I could have told Kristen then, fully take up space with no apologies. If I could have, told Kristen then to celebrate every win, because it ain't always gonna be a winning season, sis. So celebrate every win. And I think the last thing I would tell her would be to love yourself really, really well so that other people have a roadmap to follow on what it means to love you. So I have not done a vision board this year. I develop a mantra for the year. I develop a word of the year. I typically develop a playlist to go with the year. Then I think of 3 to 5 really big things that I want to do. And those are like my benchmarks, the really big things. And then I try to think of maybe another 7 to 10 medium-sized to smaller things that matter to me, right? It may not be. So like my reading goal is really important to me. Other people don't care how many books I read. I care how many books I read, right? So I do that. And then once I get my list, I plan it by quarter, like the quarter in which I want to focus on a particular goal being accomplished. So there's some things I want to do for my 40th birthday, but they require work in the first quarter because my 40th birthday is at the very top of second quarter. There are things that will, happen in the fall, but they have deadlines. So the PhD program, that doesn't start until the fall, but the application is due January 15th. So I look at like the tangible due dates created by others, and then I look at the what my life looks like as far as timing. I'm not adding a lot of extra stuff to my plate during the month of April. It will be celebrating my birthday at the top of the month, graduating at the end of the month. It's not really much else I'm gonna plan on doing in April because I'll be finishing school. Like there are things that are already there, and planning my life by quarters helps me to ensure that I'm not putting too much in one place and then not enough in another. And it also helps me to pace myself throughout the year so that I don't get to like October, like I haven't done anything I want to do. Let me try right now. That's not a comfortable way to live. Then I backtrack everything and I put it all in a calendar so I can see it in the calendar to make sure it all still makes sense. From that perspective, I break it down like into like really small steps and give those steps dates and deadlines to make sure that they get done. I'll set reminders for things. And then I live my life. What I realized in this process of writing my personal statement for this PhD application is that I've gotten much better about saying things, but there's something about putting it down on paper. It is challenging, but I get to live out the things I consistently tell my students, which is mistakes are proof that we're trying. And something being challenging doesn't make it impossible. It just makes it challenging. I deserve to be at this space. I've earned my seat at this table by nature of the fact that ain't nobody really giving nothing to Black women. So if I'm here, I should be. And if I should be, I need to take the advantage of it and use it in the best way possible to get the outcomes that I want for myself and those that I care about. That said, if I publish academically before I get married, you gotta be okay with it. Even if I get married by that point, you know who I am. Kristen Janice Hemingway. The Hemingways deserve a doctor. My work is gonna follow me. So let me be very clear. I want women to do well, but my focus is Black women. I want everybody else to do whatever they need to do to thrive. Me, my work is us. So that's number one. We are one day post runoff election in Georgia. We are, celebrating Stacey Abrams. Like they celebrated her in November and the work that she was able to do. But it's like a whole new thing. You know, we've potentially flipped this entire state blue because something was stolen from this Black woman 2 years ago, right? A little over 2 years ago. And, you know, people are like, Stacey Abrams this, Stacey Abrams, Stacey Abrams. And listen, Stacey Abrams deserves every accolade she gets. Please understand. That's black bottom line, right? She deserves it. But Stacey Abrams, as beautiful as she is, as brilliant as she is, as strategic as she is, as thoughtful as she is, as bold and as proudly Black as she is not an anomaly at all. There are plenty of beautiful, brilliant, strategic, bold, thoughtful, game-changing Black girls. She came from a school full of them, right? And so we're holding her up like she is one of a kind, and she is one of a kind in the fact that there will be no other Stacey Abrams, but she is not one of a kind as in this is the only Black girl that's magical. There are plenty of them out there. You're not listening to them. You are mislabeling them. You're calling them aggressive. You're calling them overbearing. You're saying they need to wait their turn. Like you're doing everything but benefiting from the brilliance that they bring to the table from their experience in particular as Black women in the world. Even though Black women get results, even though Black women are the most educated. So my message of empowerment is to stop looking for this unicorn Black woman and recognize that Black women are unicorns, right? And honor what is brought to the table by those Black women and utilize it while you have access to it. Because what's going to happen is they're going to take it away. And then you stuck, right? So that's my message to the world, right? My message to Black women is to stop fighting for seats at tables that are going to silence you once you get there. It makes no sense to put all that effort and energy and the struggle. It's actually killing you. It's counterproductive to be clawing your way to get a seat at a table, to then fight your way through silence once you get to the table, to pray that they hopefully recognize the gem that you are once you're there. Be Stacey Abrams. Leave the table. Do the work. And when they come back because of the work that you've done, because they will, make sure they bring their checkbook. That is my message to them. To little girls, it's living to who you are. There's a reason that you're loud. There's a reason that you're tall. There's a reason that you're short. There's a reason that you like what you like. There's a reason that you do what you do. Don't negate it because you don't yet know the reason. The things that are maladaptive, I pray for your healing. I pray that God surrounds you with people who will literally love you into your change, and not changing because they say you need to change, but changing because you recognize it no longer serves you to be that way. In the meantime, hone your gifts and skills. If you got a gift of talking, there's a reason. Keep talking. Build coalition, build relationships, even in elementary school. Learn how to move a crowd because you don't know what God is calling you to and how He might need you to move a crowd, right? So own your brilliance at every age and stage. Own your interests. Own your personality. Own your beauty because, my God, you are beautiful. You got half of the free world paying for what you got naturally and then trying to convince you that what you have isn't worthy. Don't let them do that. That's a trick. You're good enough as you are, but as you grow and as you learn and as you hone your gifts and skills and as you get better, don't turn the world on its head in whatever sphere you're supposed to be in. Don't let anybody push you in a direction that you don't want to go because it fits their purpose. Figure out your purpose. Focus. Go in that direction. Blow your own damn mind because you're worthy of your best. They will benefit from the overflow, but invest in giving yourself your best because you deserve access to it before anyone or anything else. And that is the ultimate act of worship. That is the ultimate act of praise because it lets the world know that you honor what God created and you know He didn't make